but our showings right now, we have doubled where we were pre-COVID back here just in March and April. And last week, the average number of shows per property popped up to 11, and it's holding there consistently. And so again, low inventory, super high demand. How do we focus this in? Because what we're seeing is that people are having to wake up early in the morning once those showing slots are released and slam in their buyers to get their 15-minute window. And you're finding that you're waiting in line with all of these other people. So the traditional strategy used to be that you would list on Wednesday, no showings until Friday, all offers in and submit by Sunday or Monday. Rather than trying to jam that many people through safely and abide by all of the COVID restrictions that come with sterilizing the property between each showing, why don't you list on Monday and stretch that out? Okay, that way we can keep the home safe, we can keep the sellers and all the buyers safe, but then also if your seller is willing to allow you to disclose the terms of their perfect contract, or to let buyers agents know where you currently are in terms of what types of offers have been submitted. Obviously, this is all up to the seller, but if you have 50, 100, 200 showings, based on the data from last week, we are now looking at every 21 of those showings should be yielding you an offer. And so again, if you have 200 showings, 200 showings, I mean, you could be getting upwards of 10 different contracts. And I've heard even more than that. I've heard in surplus of 20 or 30, right? And so how many contracts is enough? And at what point do you stop the showings or say that you've got what you want? That's a discussion that you need to be having with your seller to set those expectations before you go live. And so instead of trying to field those 50, 100, 200 showings and field those phone calls from buyer's agents, listing earlier in the week to stretch out the showing windows. But if your seller's willing to allow you to disclose that, and again, I'm not here to tell you how to write your contracts. I defer to Dora, I defer to your managing brokers, I defer to the board on how to write those and to get your questions or to get that permission. But then also if you're able to disclose that to buyer's agents. Because if I'm the 200th buyer's agent that's standing in line to look at that property, and I don't know that there have already been 50 other offers that have been submitted on this, and I know that my buyer isn't going to be competitive, do you think that that could open up some of your showing windows? And instead of having those looky-loos come through with quantity that may not be competitive in this market, disclosing that information to buyer's agents with your seller's permission in order to save your buyer's agent's time. And so again, 1 minute of planning saves you 10 minutes of execution, which is a 1,000% return on your investment. And so think of the ways that you can disclose this information and that you can keep everybody up to speed, because again, we don't know how hot it's going to be with the market changing and shifting so rapidly. You have to look at this information on a weekly basis. And again, my thought process is that we're not likely to see this shift or change until we either hit our affordability influx point, which is typically at the point where we hit 30% of your average P&I payment coming from your average household income, or interest rates start to go up. And so again, these numbers can change pretty drastically in terms of what we're looking for, okay? So shifting that strategy, and if your sellers let you disclose that information, as a buyer's agent, is that something that you would value, knowing where those offers sit, and if your buyer is going to be competitive? Again, by managing expectations, number one, do your research. Number two, communicate. Number three, set a strategy in place. Once you have that strategy in place and everyone's on the same page, we'll be able to work more efficiently and shift from a competitive market into a collaborative market that works significantly more effectively. Our most valuable asset is time right now. And if we're all scurrying around trying to slam our buyers into these different listings that we know are going to be kind of crazy, Think of the ways that you can disclose that to buyer's agent. Number one, using your broker or private remarks, as it's called now. Number two, your prospect matches. Once you activate that listing, if you see that you have an excessive number of prospect matches, you're able to send emails out through your prospect match feature in RE Colorado so that you can let those buyer's agents know, or those prospective buyer's agents know, what you're looking for. And then hopefully weeding that out and really shifting that into quality rather than quantity. Finally, through showing time for agents who have set showings, if your seller is willing to allow you to disclose what their best offer is, what best offers look like, or what they're looking for in terms of their best offers, that's another way. And then that way, perhaps the buyer's agents that know their buyers won't be competitive or aren't able to compete or don't want to try and compete in that current situation, maybe they'll relinquish their showing spot to open it up for a buyer who does want to compete. So we are in a mode where we have to shift from quantity into quality to ensure that we've got the most effective, efficient market that we can work in, because this is nutso.